When you open your eyes in the morning, the very first moments carry more power than most people ever realize. That quiet space between sleep and full awareness is when your mind is most impressionable, when your subconscious is wide open to suggestions, and when the blueprint for your entire day begins to take shape. If you start those moments with thoughts of doubt, with worries about bills, with frustrations from yesterday, then you are already programming yourself to carry that energy forward. But if you take those same moments and deliberately place positive images, empowering thoughts, and a calm sense of direction in your mind, you begin the day with clarity and strength. This is why your morning is not just about brushing your teeth, having breakfast, or rushing to work. It is about building the mental foundation upon which everything else rests. Think of your morning as the soil and your thoughts as seeds. Whatever you plant in those first moments will grow and expand throughout the day, sometimes without you even realizing it. When people say they had a bad day, what they often mean is that the first negativity they encountered in the morning colored everything else. Perhaps they were rushed, stuck in traffic, or irritated by a message they saw on their phone. That small start becomes a filter through which every event is judged, and it amplifies more of the same energy. On the other hand, those who begin with a deliberate pause by focusing on gratitude, breathing deeply, or setting a clear intention, carry a completely different vibration into their interactions. Decisions and challenges, it is not chance, it is choice. It is not about luck. It is about the blueprint you create in the earliest part of the day. The first hour after waking is sometimes called the golden hour, because your brain shifts from the slow, dreamlike state into alertness. In this window, the mind is not cluttered yet. It is like a clean slate waiting to be written on. If you immediately fill it with worry, you draw your attention toward problems. If you fill it with possibilities, you activate creativity and strength. Imagine an architect sitting down with blank paper. If she begins by sketching chaos, she cannot expect the building to stand strong. The same is true for your day. You are the architect, and your thoughts are the blueprint. Every morning is an opportunity to design again. Consider how different life feels when you wake up with purpose. Instead of stumbling out of bed and falling into routine, imagine opening your eyes with awareness. You decide in that moment, before your feet even touch the floor, that you will carry a specific energy into the day. You might say quietly to yourself, "Today I am calm, focused, and in control." Or perhaps you take a few minutes to picture your goals already achieved, seeing yourself speaking confidently, succeeding in your work, enjoying health and harmony. These small acts of intention are not mere fantasies. They are instructions you are giving to your subconscious mind. And once those instructions are set, your subconscious begins working all day long to align your actions, your perception, and even the opportunities around you with that initial image. The tragedy is that most people surrender their mornings to randomness. They wake up and immediately check notifications, news, or social media. Without realizing it, they are allowing other people's opinions, fears, and problems to occupy their mental blueprint. That is like handing your architectural plan to a stranger and asking them to decide what your building will look like. No wonder so many days feel scattered, stressful, and wasted. You were never meant to give away that much power. The first moments of your morning belong to you, and when you guard them, when you choose consciously how to spend them, you begin to see that everything else shifts in your favor. Think about the times in your life when you felt unstoppable, when everything seemed to go your way. If you trace back, you may notice that you began those days differently. Maybe you woke up feeling grateful. Maybe you had a clear vision in mind, or maybe you simply carried a sense of confidence that made obstacles look smaller. The pattern is always the same. The energy you start with is the energy that multiplies. A calm morning breeds calm solutions. An inspired morning breeds inspired results. A chaotic morning breeds a chaotic day. The blueprint does not lie, it only expands. You cannot change the fact that challenges will appear, but you can absolutely decide how you will meet them. By designing your morning with awareness, you are not guaranteeing a perfect day, but you are preparing yourself with the strength, focus, and resilience to turn problems into progress. You become proactive instead of reactive, creator instead of victim. And when this becomes a habit, not a one-time choice, you begin to see how your mornings shape not only your days, but your weeks, months, and ultimately your life. That is why the first hour after you wake up is the most valuable real estate in your entire schedule. What you do with it determines the structure of your destiny, brick by brick, thought by thought, action by action. Your mind is like a transmitter, and every thought you entertain in the morning broadcasts a frequency into the world that will be reflected back to you throughout the day. Most people underestimate how powerful this is. They believe thoughts are invisible and therefore harmless, but every thought carries energy, and energy attracts more of its kind. When you begin your morning with thoughts of gratitude, with mental pictures of success, or with affirmations of strength, you are setting yourself on a frequency that matches opportunity, creativity, and confidence. But when you begin with frustration, with worry about yesterday's mistakes, or with fear of what might go wrong today, you send out a vibration that draws more of the same situations into your experience. Life is not random. It responds to the frequency you set, and the frequency is born from your thoughts. If you wake up and immediately think about problems, you are tuning yourself to the frequency of problems. Like a radio station, your mind locks onto the channel it starts with. If you start the day on the worry station, then all day long your awareness is tuned into more things to worry about. If you start the day on the gratitude station, your awareness scans for blessings, opportunities, and reasons to stay thankful. The external world has both signals available, just like the radio has many stations, but the one you listen to depends on the dial you turn. The morning is when you set that dial, and once it's set, it tends to keep playing in the background until you deliberately change it. When you look at people who appear lucky, people who seem to attract the right opportunities, it is not chance. It is that they have built the habit of aligning their thoughts with the right frequency. They think abundance instead of scarcity, solutions instead of problems, possibility instead of limitation. And because they start their mornings with that mindset, they begin vibrating in harmony with circumstances and people that match those thoughts. It becomes a cycle. Positive thoughts lead to positive experiences, which create more positive thoughts, which attract even greater experiences. The opposite is also true. A person who starts the morning with resentment attracts more reasons to feel resentful, and the cycle feeds on itself until the day feels like a struggle. The truth is, your brain and your body respond to your thoughts like a command. If you think about stress first thing in the morning, your body releases stress hormones, and you carry tension throughout the day. If you think about joy, your body releases chemicals that uplift your energy and prepare you for creative action. This is not imagination. This is biology and physics working together. The vibration you set internally does not stay trapped inside you. It radiates outward, influencing how others see you, how they respond to you, and even how circumstances line up. A person who enters the office with a calm, confident energy immediately affects the entire room differently than someone who storms in with irritation. That difference began at the level of thought, not action. Imagine two people starting their day. One wakes up, grabs their phone, reads a negative headline, and instantly feels discouraged. That discouragement becomes the lens through which they look at everything. The second person wakes up, spends 5 minutes visualizing a goal achieved, and writes down 3 things they are grateful for. The first person's thoughts send out a signal of fear and frustration. The second person's thoughts send out a signal of confidence and gratitude. Both of them will walk into the same world, but they will not live in the same reality because their frequencies are tuned differently. One will notice obstacles, the other will notice opportunities. One will feel drained, the other will feel energized. The external circumstances may be identical, but the inner frequency changes everything. The law of attraction is simple, like attracts like. This is not superstition. This is the way energy interacts. A magnet does not wonder if it will attract metal. It simply does because that is its nature. Likewise, a thought does not wonder what it will bring. It simply attracts what matches. When you understand this, you realize that the responsibility is always in your hands, especially in the morning. The first thought you choose is the first broadcast you send. You can broadcast fear, or you can broadcast faith. You can broadcast anger, or you can broadcast peace. And once the signal is sent, it begins to attract the experiences that resonate with it. This is why successful people guard their mornings so carefully. They know that if they set the right frequency early, everything else falls into place more easily. It does not mean challenges disappear, but it does mean they meet those challenges with the right energy, and that makes all the difference. Problems approached from a frequency of fear expand, but problems approached from a frequency of confidence shrink. The same event can be a barrier to one person and a stepping stone to another, depending on the frequency they carry. Most people live their mornings in reaction. The alarm rings, and immediately the body jolts into stress. The phone is grabbed before the eyes are even fully open, scrolling through notifications, messages, and headlines that pour other people's demands and problems into the mind. Already, the mood is dictated by external forces. A negative comment, a reminder of bills, an email from work, all of it begins to shape the emotional state, and the person has barely even stepped out of bed. This is living in reaction. It means handing control of your energy, your focus, and your mindset over to everything outside of you. When you start the day this way, you are like a boat tossed by waves, constantly adjusting to whatever storm appears without ever setting a direction of your own. But there is another way, a way of creation. It begins with the decision that the morning belongs to you and not to the world. Creation means taking those first precious minutes and using them intentionally before allowing outside influences to rush in. Instead of immediately reacting to the demands of others, you pause, you breathe, you focus inward, and you decide what kind of day you will create. This is not about ignoring responsibilities. It is about meeting them from a place of power instead of pressure. When you choose creation, you become the designer of your day rather than the victim of it. Reaction is passive, creation is active. Reaction drains energy, creation generates it. Reaction is survival, creation is expansion. When you look at the difference closely, you realize why so many people feel stuck in cycles of stress and frustration. They are not choosing their mornings, they are reacting to them. The truth is, the way you start determines whether you spend the day running from problems or moving toward opportunities. If you wake up and immediately rush, your body and mind stay in that rushed state all day long. If you wake up and deliberately slow down to align your thoughts, your body carries that calm and focus through every task ahead. Think about the most powerful creators in history, people who built businesses, art, or movements that changed the world. They were not living in reaction to the noise around them. They carved out space to create their vision before the world could interrupt. They held an image in their mind and worked to bring it into reality. That same power exists in your morning. The moment you wake up, you can choose to create an image of how your day will unfold. You can visualize success in a meeting, calm in your interactions, energy in your body, and progress toward your goals. That image becomes a blueprint that guides you, and because you set it intentionally, the world around you begins to bend toward that image. One of the greatest shifts happens when you realize that your first thoughts in the morning are like commands to your subconscious mind. If the command is, "I am stressed, I have too much to do, I don't know if I can handle this," then your subconscious spends the rest of the day proving that to be true. But if the command is, "I am in control, I am focused, I am moving toward my goals with energy," then the subconscious works to align your actions, your awareness, and even your interactions with that belief. Creation is not wishful thinking, it is programming, and the programming is strongest in those early hours when the mind is most open. The danger of reaction is that it gives power to the past and the outside world. You react to yesterday's problems, to someone else's opinion, to the pressure of time, and all of those things keep you trapped in cycles you did not choose. But creation frees you. It says, "I decide how I feel before the world gives me reasons. I decide what I will focus on before distractions appear. I decide what kind of energy I carry before anyone else has the chance to drain it." This is how leaders think. They do not wait for circumstances to decide their state of mind. They impose their state of mind onto circumstances. It might seem small, but the choice to spend 10 minutes creating instead of reacting can change everything. Imagine beginning with a short meditation, breathing deeply and clearing the mind. Imagine writing down your top 3 goals for the day, focusing not on endless tasks, but on the outcomes that matter most. Imagine visualizing yourself moving through the day with calm confidence, seeing obstacles as stepping stones. These simple acts put you in creation mode. Then, when challenges inevitably appear, you meet them with the energy you have already chosen, rather than letting them dictate your mood. Reaction is about living by default. Creation is about living by design. Every morning, you are presented with the choice. Will you allow outside forces to write the script of your day, or will you write it yourself? Most people unconsciously choose reaction because it is easy to let the phone, the news, or the urgency of others dictate how they feel. But those who rise above that pattern choose creation, and in doing so, they begin to notice that life itself becomes more cooperative. Doors open, clarity sharpens, and challenges become manageable, not because the world changed, but because their energy did. Creation always multiplies, and it begins in the very first hour of the morning. You cannot always control the world around you, but you can always control the world within you. That is where the true power lies. Negative feelings are something every person faces: fear, anger, doubt, disappointment, frustration. They are a part of the human experience. But the difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not whether negative feelings appear, but how they are handled. The morning is the most critical moment to decide whether those emotions will rule you or serve you. If you wake up and allow yesterday's pain, today's worries, or tomorrow's uncertainties to take over, your entire day will carry that weight. But if you choose to interrupt the cycle, if you choose to redirect your mind through gratitude, visualization, and affirmation, those same feelings can be transformed into fuel. Gratitude is the first and most powerful antidote to negativity. When the mind wakes up heavy, it is often because it is focused on what is lacking, what is wrong, or what could go wrong. Gratitude flips the perspective. It forces you to recognize what is already good, what is already working, what is already a blessing. The act of listing 3 or 5 things you are grateful for first thing in the morning is not just a ritual, it is a mental reset. It tells your mind, look here, not there. Focus on what empowers you, not on what weakens you. And once that shift happens, the negative feelings lose their grip. You cannot feel genuine gratitude and deep fear in the same breath. One displaces the other, and you get to decide which one stays. Visualization is the next step. Negative feelings often arise because the mind paints a picture of failure, rejection, or struggle. The imagination is powerful, but most people use it unconsciously against themselves. They rehearse arguments, replay mistakes, or imagine worst-case scenarios. That energy then creates anxiety, anger, or hopelessness. But when you take control of that imagination in the morning, you turn it into a tool of creation. Close your eyes and see yourself overcoming challenges, succeeding in your goals, speaking with confidence, moving with energy. When the mind sees those images, the body responds. Your nervous system begins to act as though success is already happening, and the negative emotions begin to dissolve. Visualization is not pretending. It is training your subconscious to accept a new reality before it arrives. Affirmations complete the process. Words are commands to your subconscious mind. If you wake up and think, I am tired, I can't handle this, I'm not good enough, then your mind will spend the entire day proving you right. But if you replace those sentences with affirmations like, I am capable, I am strong, I am focused, I am moving forward, then your subconscious begins to organize your thoughts, energy, and even your actions around those commands. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about choosing which version of yourself you will believe in. Both the weak self and the strong self exist in potential. The one you affirm consistently is the one that becomes real. The beauty of this practice is that negative feelings are not an enemy to be destroyed, but a signal to be redirected. Fear can become energy for preparation. Anger can become fuel for determination. Doubt can become the reminder to grow stronger in faith. When you start your morning with the conscious choice to transform rather than suppress these feelings, you discover that they lose the power to control you. Instead, they become tools in your hands. The very emotions that once dragged you down now lift you up, because you have decided to lead them instead of follow them. Every morning you are given a fresh start, no matter what happened yesterday. The sun rises whether you failed or succeeded, whether you cried or laughed, whether you felt weak or strong. That is the universe's way of reminding you that each day is a new opportunity to choose again. Negative feelings may whisper as soon as you wake up, but you do not have to obey them. You can override them by deliberately engaging in gratitude, by consciously directing your imagination through visualization, and by commanding your mind with affirmations that align with your highest self. This inner decision is where freedom begins. The external world may still throw challenges your way. People may still disappoint you, situations may still test you, circumstances may still look uncertain. But once you have trained yourself to master the inner world in the morning, those external events lose the power to shake you. You stop being a slave to moods and become the master of your state. You stop waiting for good things to happen before you feel good, and you start choosing to feel good so that good things happen. The shift is subtle, but it is the difference between drifting through life and directing it. Negative feelings will always knock on the door, but when you meet them with awareness and transform them in the morning, they no longer decide your destiny, you do.